Anyway, onto the movie.
Yeah, man, on to the movie.
Spoilers within spoilers. Loops within time. Oh, we're all over the place. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn, right? That's what we're talking about.
The first thing that struck me was just like the typography, just like the cleanness of it. Like it started with the car. He was sleeping in the car.
Yeah.
And then just like Logan popped up on the screen, clean, like white type over the thing. Like as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is art directed really nicely.
Yeah.
And I know that they're taking this in a good place.
Yeah.
I loved that when he got out of that car, his feet were wobbly. You know, like just like he didn't even get out with like his feet flat.
Yeah.
Like he literally got out with his feet like, you know, left and right.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously he was drunk, but also that he was just kind of weary and old, you know. But just that little, for me, that was like quite a big thing.
Just the subtlety of it, yeah.
Just like, oh shit, he's not even got out of the car properly.
Yeah.
Know? But yeah, what did you think of that scene?
I think that scene was exactly what the movie needed it to be.
Yeah.
So if you watch that first scene and you don't like it, walk out.
Yeah.
Because that's the movie. It doesn't get bigger than that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have a big explosion at the end. Right. It doesn't have anything massive happening.
Yeah.
And we get into that, but for me, I was just like, all right, this is great.
Yeah.
If you're starting the movie like this, like you said, Logan.
Yeah.
And then you just have him in the car. Fuck.
Yeah.
And he gets out, and then he has this brutal fight with these Mexicans stealing the car.
Yeah.
Like, all right, this is the movie. And it's like some movies start and they have the opening scene, and like I'm obsessed with the opening scenes and shots. I think.
Oh yeah.
If you don't have your movie there, you don't have it anywhere else.
It's like with a lot of things. You need to open nicely. You need to fill in, and then you need to end really well.
But it's like the feeling, like you said, you saw this simple typography.
Yeah.
It didn't have a big swirling 3D thing.
It didn't need to have any of that. Yeah.
Because that puts your brain in a different place.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you did the Alien and all that. Like Alien opens on just a slow, steady black, and
with
then and then the Alien
with that music that I did.
And you're like, this is the movie I'm going to see. Yeah. And I think that's a great director, guy who knows what he wants. Yeah. And like that scene was great.
It was,
and everything after that was like the same. It didn't go off.
It wasn't up and down like, I want to see another scene like this.
Yeah. Take a quick pot shot at something like, Suicide Squad. Sure. Which just opens on like 7 different things at once.
Why would you have a go at that film though?
Well, it's true. It's a masterpiece.
And the Oscar goes to... for Suicide Squad.
You know what I mean? It's like it goes up and down. And
it really does,
What's going on here? Yeah.
One of the things I liked about that opening scene was like, they were like kicking the shit out of him. And he was like, obviously cared about his car so much. And then eventually they just like whacked him onto the floor, kicking him. And then he was just like the rage, And then suddenly like, man, this film was R-rated. Like this made bloody Deadpool look like a Disney film. Like close to that. Yeah. And then he like ripped the guy's arm off, whatever, torn it off, and then he like stuck it through someone's face. Yeah. As soon as I saw that, even in I don't know about your cinema, in my cinema, people were like, "Oh, like, yeah." I think that's when everyone realized like,
I kind of laughed in that kind of way of like, friggin'. I love this.
Yeah, I know. That's what I loved about it. It's like the brutalness of it, but then that typography was just like Logan. Yeah. It's just like as soon as I saw those things in that beginning scene, I was like, this is gonna be good. Yeah. Like I was like, this is gonna be one of my favorite films of 2017, just from that scene. I had faith that they weren't going to screw it up. It went up and down in bits, but like awesome opening scene.
So your feeling for the whole thing straight off is you liked it?
Yeah, straight off for sure. Yeah.
One of your favorites?
Straight off the bat, yeah. But then as we go through, there was things here and there I would improve, or I would like to have seen more, but. Yeah. I mean, overall, we can hit some other scenes as well.
I think you got the same feel as me. So. My feeling would be it was beautifully disappointing.
Oh, yeah?
In that, like you said, it didn't hit everything I wanted it to hit.
Yeah.
But I would rather the movie had flaws.
Yeah.
Than it was just trying to be another superhero film.
If it had the flying text come in, swinging around, and then fireballs and shit like that, and that kind of X-Men film, I would have been annoyed because I've seen too many of those. And
it's almost an insult to call this an X-Men film.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah,
it's for me, I'm a massive Western fan.
Yeah.
This is just a Western. That's all it is. It's just a Western.
They even had the quotes in there.
Yeah, and instead of guns, he's got claws.
Yeah.
There were a few things up and down that I was like, oh shit.
What was
and I talked about this. I talked about it before we saw it, that if they didn't end it properly, they ended it well. Yeah, but it didn't hit me as much as I thought.
Okay. Well, before we get to the end, what was your favorite scene?
That's what I was going to say.
Oh yeah,
my favorite scene wasn't the end of it. We all know the spoiler. Logan dies.
Yeah.
And she does when she puts the cross.
Yeah, she puts it to her neck.
Here's the thing that made me think I like this movie is she did that and I didn't laugh at it.
Yeah.
Because in another movie that would have been cheesy fuck.
Yeah.
But that just finished and I was like,
they can pull it off.
I don't feel as good as not as good. I don't have the feeling I wanted when he died.
Sure.
I think it was a little rushed.
Yeah.
But I kind of forgave it all because, like I said, it was so close to being perfect.
Yeah.
That I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I would rather you fucked up trying to make a perfect movie.
I agree.
Than if you decided, let's just make X-Men 5 or 7 or whatever it is, and make $800 million. They're like, no. And that came, like I said, my favorite scene, and the scene that made me really choke up was when he was burying. Yeah, I'm getting again. I mean, when he's burying the professor.
Oh yeah.
And he's got like he's got the shovel and he's trying to say something.
Yeah.
And he can't come and
through,
it was just everything about that was just fuck. Hugh Jackman has to get nominated for something for that.
Yeah, someone mentioned
just to tell you a whole story.
Yeah.
Without a monologue.
Sure.
Without giving you the big speech.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't like, it was very beautiful and I loved him and he was my friend and breaking down and doing all that kind of like actory shit.
Yeah.
He was just like, no,
straight up,
no, and he wouldn't let himself go. And then the bit I loved is he leaves because she tries to take his hand.
Yeah.
And he leaves, and then he's smashing the fuck out of the truck.
Bloody hilarious.
And that's the thing. Everybody in the audience, because it relieves that tension. It was so emotional.
Reminded me of Basil Fawlty. Yeah. I don't know if you remember.
It was like Basil Fawlty
hitting the car with a fucking stick or whatever.
And it was great because he's like going nuts. But the thing that sold me on the movie's quality is that they didn't play the funny. They played the joke.
Yeah.
And then the camera went back to him. Yeah. And he's still doing it.
Yeah.
And he hasn't stopped. And then he passes out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's good.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, thank God. It was like this kind of thing you'd get in a regular X-Men movie of like, oh, that was serious. Let's stop and have a joke.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, this isn't a joke. This man's having a fucking breakdown.
Yeah.
He's got nothing left.
Yeah. I thought
so that's what my favorite scene was just that like 2 minutes.
That's weird that you say that because I thought that Professor, when he died, and then he put him in the back of the van or but truck, I thought that was too quick.
That's what I mean. That I got worried then.
I thought he deserved like more than that, to be honest. So that was quick, and then the shovel movement when he was burying him actually stuck out to me because it didn't strike me as much as I wanted.
Right.
I was expecting to be a bit more choked up.
Yeah.
However, I was the second time I watched it.
Yeah.
Because I think I knew it was coming and I was waiting for it, but I wasn't as choked up as I thought with that. That actually stuck out to me. Just I was like, as soon as that scene happened, I saw him burying him, and he was like, well, he's by the water. And then I could, Jackman was getting choked up when he was saying it. I was expecting that to go on a little bit longer, and I was expecting myself to be like, oh fuck, but I never got that way. And I remember thinking, I think that scene could have been a bit better. I don't know, that's just that was just me. And then I thought Professor, when he got clawed, when he brought him into the back of the car, and then he didn't really say much, and then he just went, like, I know it was quick and he's an old geezer, but I just thought there was going to be more to it. But then again, you don't want it to be cheesy. You don't want it to be Logan, survive. You don't want any of that bullshit. But I just thought there was going to be something else. So that would be a negative. But one of the things another thing I wanted to see more of, but I still loved, was the end where he took that green shit. He was back. So I loved that he was. First of all, I loved that they shaved him, so he looked like
he looked like Logan again.
Amazing,
old man.
I loved that he was Wolverine one last time because you wanted to see him. Because the whole film, you saw him as someone else. He was Wolverine, but he was beaten up. But you saw him for that moment. My only criticism, I would have actually liked to have seen him 5 more minutes of that. I thought it was a bit too quick, but just having him run through the forest. But he's in the forest as well. He's going towards Canada. That's where he's from. He's a Wolverine. And all that lot. And then having the classic clothes on, he's got the young face again. He's got that for me. I was just like, this is so good. I friggin' love this. And then it wore off. It was wearing off. But then he was the leader of the kids and stuff like that. Like, it was so good. Like, really fucking good.
Have you seen Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood?
No, I don't think I have.
Like Jackman referenced that as one of the things, and that's one of the best westerns of all time for lots of reasons. I'll go into it maybe in a video or something one time. I love it, but that is all. The story of that is this old legend.
Yeah.
Who does nothing for the movie, and all that you hear is all these great things of like how great he was, how amazing he was.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, I'm not spoiling it, so it's like the end of the movie, you see like how vicious and horrible he is. And that's like what I saw in Logan of like the comic books and the old stories, and everyone's like, oh, you're not what you used to be. And then for that last moment when not even when he's doing, when they're grabbing all the kids, and then just from the woods you just hear this roar.
Yeah.
And he runs up the hill. I got fucking goosebumps. I was like, he's back.
I know,
he's back.
That's what I liked. Yeah. And it was just like, he was just like pissed.
Yeah.
Just like smashing through everyone.
Destroyed everybody.
Yeah. And then, but I just would have liked to see him a little bit more. I just thought it worn off too quick. Like you saw him back as Wolverine.
I think
young Wolverine.
From the point that Professor X got stabbed.
Yeah.
To the end, I would have liked that to be in about 15 minutes longer. Because I think they needed a little bit more scenes. That's what I was saying about I was disappointed.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not disappointed in this film. This is still one of the best comic book movies ever made.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah, it's definitely like probably first class. And this are the two best.
I'm glad there's stuff that we can talk about, because if it was perfect, it would be boring in a way. Exactly. Because you want things, and it's nice that we've both got different things. For
me, it was just a bit too fast. Like when Professor X got killed, it's not the cheese that I wanted. It's just he gets killed, then you have the big fight with X-24.
Yeah.
And that family that they connected with, that's quickly gone over.
Bloody surprising, wasn't it?
It was surprising, but I get this thing of like, death is quick and brutal and it's horrible.
Sure.
And then they rush through the ending between him going to the doctor.
Yeah.
And then they find the kids.
That was odd, yeah.
And then he has a fight with her. And then at the end, they have a moment together.
Yeah.
And I think they didn't have that tiny moment where it switches in his head.
Yeah.
Like the thing that I didn't quite get the movie hit on was at the end where he got the money off the girl.
Yeah.
I was like, everybody knows Wolverine wasn't doing it for the money.
Yeah.
Like, that's not who he was.
Yeah.
Like, sure, he's a dickhead, but he's not that guy. He wasn't protecting this girl just for the money.
Yeah.
So when they tried to make that the point, and then it was kind of like, oh, will he go and save the kids or not? It's like, of course he is.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted. What I wanted was him and the girl.
Yeah.
To have the moment. So when she says to him, or he says to her, don't be what they made you.
Yeah. It just means more.
It means more. And I don't think they quite got enough there.
Yeah, I agree.
And the same with like the kids of, like my first worry was they were going to do, not worry, but I thought, oh, he's going to become like Professor X now.
Sure.
He's going to take the kids and start his own school.
Yeah.
And that would have been like the normal thing to do.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, they're going to have him defeat the bad guy and, or not the bad guy. You know how, what was it, Rice, the English actor from Whitnell and I? He was talking about how everybody was, not everybody, the mutants died out because they put something in all the liquids and the
that's right,
energy drinks.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the background, like in the world, the farmers beside this giant thing that's like Monsanto, Injitec or whatever it is, that's like destroying the crop, not destroying the crops, genetically modifying crops.
Yeah.
And there's this whole background corporation of evil. And I thought, okay, they might do something with that. And then I remember when they're on the road and the big, huge trucks nearly hit them.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, oh, are the trucks under control and they're trying to kill these guys?
Yeah.
But they didn't go down that route. They didn't go down the route of like, Wolverine's saving the day and he's going to save all the mutants and bring them all back.
Sure.
So that was fine.
Yeah.
But it still rushed that final, like, oh, here's X-24.
Yeah.
He's an evil Wolverine.
Yeah, they definitely rushed him.
Yeah.
Rushed him into it. I was confused by the bloody trucks as well. I was like, I didn't even know they were computer controlled until they said after.
Yeah.
That was another actually really great scene was that family. And then I liked all that. But my favorite thing was that just everything went tits up. And then the dad at the end drove through the X-24, blew him away, and then I loved that he
tried to kill
Logan.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah.
I was like, and then like obviously no bullets and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you could see Logan was just like, yeah, go on, just shoot me.
There was some. I don't even know. That's the thing
really
about the film. Like I said, I'm beautifully disappointed. I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Usually I know how to fix it.
Yeah.
But with this, I'm like, the dad's had the father of that family's having problems with like the dickheads from the corporation.
Yeah.
And they have a standoff, and then that guy makes a mistake, and X-24 goes mental.
Yeah.
And then the dad kills him, and then the dad's dead, and everything goes to shit. And I'm like, it's a Western. That all makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But it's just, there was something that just didn't fit. Yeah. So when, after, and he's burying the professor.
Yeah.
And he goes to the hospital.
Yeah.
And he meets the kids. There was just something missing.
Yeah, I do agree, actually. I'm not sure what it is either, but I do agree.
I don't know what it is. And I think it was just time. I just think it rushed.
Yeah.
And I think that might have just been either they didn't know exactly how to fix it.
Sure.
Like one of the weirdest moments for me was when Wolverine sees X-24 come down the stairs, and he sees himself, and they just have this stare off.
He's more concerned with the professor, though.
He is, but it just seemed really static. I was like, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah,
he seems the kind of guy who would just kill this fucker. You know, who'd just go for him or something.
Yes and no, though, because you gotta remember how old Logan is and how much he's seen. He has seen a lot of shit.
But that's what I mean. Like, if you've seen as much shit as him, you wouldn't be that freaked out.
I think
seeing
he's
a clone.
so concerned by the professor that that's why he ran up there. Because when I watched it a second time, I was like, hang on a second.
You've seen it twice.
You'd think he'd stab him in the neck at least or whatever, and then get his daughter at least, free. But
maybe it was just the blocking, like just the way they stood right in front of each other, and then walk around.
No, it did happen like that. But I mean, I think I don't think they did it as well as they could have. But I think he was just so in his mind, he's like, everyone is dead. Yeah, Professor's up there. Is he dead? Yeah. You know. So I think his mind was just like, I've got to go up there because he just forgot about his daughter. He literally chose Professor over his daughter.
Just as we're talking about this is exactly why the film's great.
Yeah,
because we're not talking about plot holes or things. We're talking about like emotional things. Why is the character doing this? Why would he do that? And that's a good movie. When you're not just like, why wouldn't he just put the box in the fucking corner? You know, that kind of thing. Like, there is a plot hole in this film, but I don't give a shit.
There was a couple of things I noticed the second time. You might have noticed the first time, but was when Professor X was saying, I saw the Liberty, Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And he goes
it was
to
X-Men 1 reference.
But you know what what was actually the Liberty? Did he say Statue of Liberty or did he say Liberty? Because I think he just said,
tell you that.
Because you know the motel where he picked up the girl?
Yeah.
It was called Liberty.
Oh,
so
was
I picked that up the second time. So I think Professor X...
So you're stealing my job, dickhead.
So you know Professor X, he said, like, I've seen a mutant, and I've seen this. I think that he looked into the future by his mind's old.
He can do that,
but he can do that, but his mind didn't really know what it was doing. Yeah. So when he said, I think he might have probably said Statue of Liberty, or maybe just Liberty.
I think it was Statue of Liberty because I remember it was like a reference to the original.
I know Logan says that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I loved that the motel was called Liberty, and then you could see Logan or Hugh Jackman, and he was looking at it, and he was just like,
I didn't catch that. That's
so
a nice little
thing.
thing.
I think he looked at that, and it was like, Professor knew that these.
So
people were here.
No, what's happening? I think what's happening there is the Professor is old and senile.
Yeah.
So he's scanning. He's finding the mutant. Mm-hmm. He's seeing Liberty.
Yeah.
But his brain is thinking Statue of Liberty.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. And then I think everyone saw it, but I loved it, was when they were burying, or they said goodbye to Logan. The kid was carrying the... actually, my brother never saw it. But did you see the little kid? He was carrying a Wolverine.
The Wolverine toy, yeah.
That was so
in
good.
The classic blue and yellow and black, yeah.
So, fantastic.
Yeah. That's just a great little thing of, like, this is a real world.
Yeah.
It felt like a real world, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I like the fact that there was this big corporation and it doesn't get fixed and it doesn't get solved. And we don't know, we kind of know why the mutants disappeared.
Sure.
But you don't have this big thing. The bad guy is saying, the mutants disappeared because X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. And
he just shoots him, and starts a fight. Like, there's nothing in this it's kind of the flaw and the brilliance of it. Nothing's drawn out.
Yeah.
But some things could have been.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the comics, because I think I read this, that Wolverine went mental and killed a bunch of people.
Yeah,
but in this film, it was Professor X.
Everyone's probably heard that it's based on a comic called Old Man Logan.
Sure.
And in that comic, Wolverine kills the original X-Men in a rage.
Does he not kill Avengers as well or something?
I don't know if he kills Avengers. He
definitely kills. I saw a screenshot of Captain America, and he wasn't looking too good.
Well, in the comic,
or is that something else?
What happens in that comic is it's a wasteland in the future, New Mexico kind of thing.
Sure.
Where he's gone to live because of his horror and all that. And the supervillains have won, and they've split up America.
Right.
So all the heroes have gotten killed except for Hawkeye's in it.
Okay.
And Hulk is in it, but Hulk isn't, doing the best either. So everyone's thinking, oh, they're going to do Old Man Logan. But you can't do Old Man Logan because Fox Studios don't own the rights to any of those characters.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but in that, like, Captain America gets killed by Red Skull.
Okay.
I think Doctor Doom owns a part of America. Like, they split up the whole world. Like, it's one of those things of like, why don't all the bad guys just work together? And in that world, they did.
Right.
And yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's that kind of just him on a trip with Hawkeye trying to solve a little problem, not like save everything.
Yeah.
I like the version they did there. I like that Western. I just like the fact that the only thing we're worrying about is like, what did he mean when he did this? And was that a thing? And
we're not pulling it to pieces saying like they did this wrong and it spoiled this, you know, or because they did this, it was a knock-on effect for this. It was like, no, it was awesome. Yeah. And seeing it a second time as well was just as awesome as well. I thought seeing it a second time so soon, I was going to be kind of a little bit like, oh, this scene's coming up. But I was like, the whole way through, it was just like, boom, like love this, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those great, patience, respect of the audience. Like, it doesn't answer some questions.
Yeah.
It just says things and leaves it there.
Yeah.
And there's no big, like you said, there's no big speech moments where he's, oh, well, this happened and that happened and now I'm happy. I was like, no.
Do you think we're going to see young X-Men coming up?
Yeah, they've already started. Like, I think it's the Dark Phoenix saga. Okay. Which is Jean Grey at the end of Apocalypse when she went all fiery and bird. Yeah. They're going to do that again.
Did you hear that they...
but the timeline's fucked, so...
Did you hear they cut a Jean Grey scene out of Logan?
Oh, I heard that, yeah.
They filmed it, so it'll be in the extras, but apparently it was in there at the dinner table of the family or something.
Oh, was it? I didn't
so
know
apparently, like, when they're all the family, it cuts to her for some reason or something like that. But they cut it out. I'm not sure why. But,
I heard there was at that dinner scene as well. Professor X talks about Jean's dead. Yeah. And Wolverine killed her. Yeah. And then they cut that out because it was just that scene was a nice scene and they didn't want to fucking
they didn't want to mess miserable. It up. Yeah, it was good. Like even when the professor was like, "This was the most perfect day." Yeah, in a long time, and then suddenly
he's dead.
Just like,
he's dead when he says that.
Yeah, he's gone.
Never be happy.
That's what my brother said. He was just like, as soon as he heard that, he was like, "Nah, it can't be that good."
But even then, the way they did it, you're like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you were like, "Does that really happen?" Because as soon as the claws went in, I was like, "And it's a dream." Yeah, so that's me too. I was because and that's what I liked about it in that the filmmakers knew that. Yeah, they knew what everyone would think. Yeah. You're like, oh, he's having a dream. Yeah, he got stabbed. He'll wake up, and he doesn't wake up. Yeah, and then you see Wolverine, and my brain is just going a million miles a minute. I'm like, what is that? Did he shave his head? Yeah. Did he go mental? Is this a side effect? Yeah. Maybe his powers come back, but and you're doing all this trying to put the pieces together, and then it starts to just slowly put them together. Yeah. There's no big like dun dun dun. Yeah. You're like, oh Jesus, what a bitch of a movie to do that. Do we know how well the movie's doing? I mean, I know it's been reviewing.
It was number one at the box office. So, okay. But it's expected that what's out this weekend? Kong is going to take it over.
Oh really? Okay. Interesting.
But for a R-rated movie, you can't really fucking piss on what it's done.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But yeah, overall, man, like. Bloody loved it. Can't wait to get it on DVD. Yeah, we waited in the cinema for some post credits, but there were none. So that's what the Deadpool was like. I read up on that, like why there weren't any.
There was no need.
There was no need, and he didn't want it. He didn't want to have to do that because it's a superhero film. He's like, this is my film. I do what I want. Yeah, I don't want people waiting in the cinema like for something just because it's a Marvel film. It has to have this. Yeah. So that was pretty much his decision.
It's definitely his own film. That's why I thought it was great to have it. Like if you're going to make a movie, you've got basically two options. Yeah. And DC always take the crap option. Yeah. DC they look at another movie and they think we can do as good as, we can do better than that. Yeah. Like if you're going to go out there and you're going to write a script tomorrow. Yeah. And you look at Batman and Superman. Yeah. Or you look at Green Lantern and you think, oh, I can do better than that. What you're going to end up with is Green Lantern plus like 5%. Yeah. Or you're going to get Batman, Superman plus 10%. Sure. Batman, Superman's currently rated at like 20%. So that means you're going to get 30%. Yeah. Which is still a shit movie. Getting shit, but a little bit better, is no good. Mm. But if you decide that you're going to try and make Unforgiven, which is an Oscar-winning Clint Eastwood classic, and that's like 100%, you're aiming for the moon, and you don't quite make it, which this film does, it doesn't quite make a perfect movie. Sure. It's still 90%. You still like that's the thing. Just aim for brilliant. Yeah. Instead of just trying to do better than shit. Yeah. Yeah. And for me, this film it was a really smart move on the part of Hugh Jackman and the director. because they knew they could get away with more because Deadpool made so much money.
Right.
But at the same time, the studios kind of turned around and been like, oh, wait, Deadpool didn't just make money because it was R-rated. It made money because they were allowed to do whatever the hell they wanted. And I think, like you said, they didn't put a thing at the end of it. They didn't say, oh, put in the X-Men. They didn't say, make a big finale or, you know, give us a good bad guy or can we get some merchandise out of this?
Yeah.
And they said, R-rated, Hugh wants to do it. You're going to do it for less than 100 million. Perfect. Do what you want.
Yeah. I know they were surprised when they put that down on the table. And they were like, yeah, we'll do that. So it was like, holy shit.
So if that's the way Hollywood's going to go, it's great. I don't want all the films to be R-rated.
Yeah.
Not at all. Like, you can't go make an R-rated Guardians or anything.
No. So.
But if they're starting to just turn around and be like, okay, do your own movie.
Yeah.
Like if somebody at DC turns around and says, we should do this with Batman.
Eventually,
how good would Batman
eventually
be?
it will happen, and something will happen with DC, and everyone's going to be like, this is the movie that changed it. And it's, you know, they're just on a downer, and they just need to come back up. And it might not be for another 2 or 3 years, 10 years, I don't know. But eventually there will be a film, and everyone's going to be like...
That's the problem. Like, the next 2 films were already in production.
Yeah.
Before they learned their lessons.
Yeah.
So the next one that's coming out, like, I know it was a bad thing that Flash got delayed.
Sure.
And they dropped the director. But at the same time, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe
it's
they're like,
fixable.
oh, let's start.
That might be the film to do it.
Because what is it next year? Aquaman?
I believe so, yeah.
So that one might be the one that they're like...
That's kind of on the...
Because nobody knows Aquaman. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
They might just be like, all right, do whatever you want.
Yeah. Like, what a good actor there as well. So
yeah. Well, he looks the part, that's for sure.
Yeah. So...
Oh, I just checked it there. The worldwide for Logan is currently $440 million.
Wow, that's awesome.
And it cost less than $100 million.
That's really
95, 97 million.
That's awesome.
So it's made 4 times its money back.
Yeah.
Boom. Like that just makes everything better. Because now you're thinking, oh, if you make a smart, emotional film,
of course, yeah,
it'll make you money.
I mean, not that Deadpool was emotional, but Deadpool was like a good...
it was true to the character.
A good example, though, that, you know, a low budget, but you know what people want to see. Yeah, like super happy. Like I walked out that cinema and I was like, yeah, this is bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
I've seen the film twice and I'm looking forward to watching it again.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a commentary.
Yeah, I want to see it again. I might go see it. Well, I'm not going to see it next weekend, but like, I want to see it again. Yeah. Because, you know, when you like a movie and you know what's coming, you kind of can get used to it.
Yeah.
Again, it didn't do everything perfect. But I would rather bitch about a movie not being perfect than sit here like moaning that it didn't do anything right.
Ever since he did that in the film,
it
didn't make sense the rest of the film. Yeah. You know, it could have been something like that, you know.
I think the best way of putting it, I just thought of, is there's nothing I would take out of that film.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd like to see some more stuff in there.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in there I would take out.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
When you see like a bad movie, you're like, why are they doing this? Or why did they say that joke? Or why did they do this scene?
Yeah.
But with this film, like, all of this was great, just needed a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if anyone's listening and they haven't seen it and they've gone through all their spoilers, it's really, really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth a watch. It's worth watching in a theatre and spending money on a ticket.